Khisha Brijon, along with the King of LA Sports, Richard Lopez. And we also have a special guest, Dontrelle Detroit. Welcome.
Thank you.
And today we are talking steroids on the Takeover. We will be discussing the players who've been caught using them and the players we think are using them and the impact it has on their teams and careers. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Well,
I'll let our guest go first. Go ahead.
I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And King?
I am doing very, very well.
Good.
You know, expect some big things coming in the next few weeks, but I'm great. The weekend couldn't have gone any better.
All right, good to hear it.
And before we get into the bad things, the Dodgers are in first still.
Okay.
Just so everybody knows, in case anybody's forgot.
This is not a Dodgers show, Rich.
No, but just in case anybody forgot, the Dodgers are
steroid
2.5
show.
games. You know, okay, well, Mark McGwire, that's the reason I brought it up, you know. Okay. Okay, just had to throw that out there.
Okay.
Dodgers are in first.
Okay.
Let's get on with our show.
Yes, let's get started.
Let's do it.
So there's been reports all over.
Mm-hmm.
Sports Center, ESPN, Major League Baseball Channel Network about the steroid usage, the suspensions coming down for the PEDs being used in the league. So let's get some feedback. Let's get some opinions on what's going on. What the league is trying to do, what the owners are trying to do, what the players are trying to do to combat all this madness.
Well,
that's happening.
first thing, the jig's up, guys. For all you players out there that have been using these steroids, the time has come where the sport's going to get cleaned up. So I suggest you step up your acts and get clean because it's coming. And a lot of these owners don't want to pay big money to people because they know that all sports are following suit behind baseball. Mm-hmm. It's not just baseball cleaning up the sport. NFL is right there, and so is the NBA. All these athletes need to be cleaned up. I mean, the sports need to. I mean, I think so. Level playing field.
I agree with that. Now, all this came about because of Porter Fisher, who claims to have more than 100 Major League Baseball players who's purchased PEDs from a Florida biogenesis clinic owner, Tony Bosch, who's also cooperating with the league in their investigations. A-Rod, Braun, Milky Cabrera, Nelson Cruz, Bartolo Colon, all these people have been indicted regarding the PED use. So let's talk about it.
Let's start with the most recent and probably the most biggest besides A-Rod, Ryan Braun, Detroit. I know you've done some research on this one. What do you got to say about Ryan Braun and him being caught?
Disappointing. As we spoke earlier about Braun depriving Kemp of his MLB during that year. You don't want to rob anybody of their merit or what they do, and you talked about a level playing field earlier. It just sucks that somebody that comes from out of nowhere, because baseball is an up and down sport in the sense that 40 home runs or stolen bases one year could turn into 80, and now for people like Chris Davis, we can't even honor that truly because he's hitting home runs left and right every third at bat or something to that nature, and now we can't help but think because of what Ryan Braun did that he's got to be using. There isn't an if, or the speculation is very little. It's almost you're just going to assume and convict them
And it's baseball's fault. It's nobody else's fault. Baseball has pretty much done nothing about this whole steroid thing for years. I mean, since I was in high school, which isn't that long ago. But, since I was high school, the whole McGwire, Sosa, the home run race, baseball loved it. They were making money, and it was, for the time, it was great. They were making money from they were just coming out of the lockout that they had after the home run chase, or before the home run chase. So it was good for them to get their ratings back up. But after a while, like some of these guys, they started having serious injuries, serious medical problems, and they've been using steroids. And one of the main ones I'm going to talk about is the Los Angeles Dodgers hitting coach, Mark McGwire. He was one of the guys, he was never caught, so we can't sit here and say he for sure used it, but, come on. It doesn't take, let me ask you guys, do you believe McGwire took steroids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He never got caught.
Yeah. That's just like the Barry Bonds, You're a Dodgers fan, I'm a Giants fan. Barry Bonds, I don't think he used, but he admitted to tinkering. It's all the same. But back to what you were saying previously about them MLB letting it get out of control, was it truly a bad thing if the sport that we know was our favorite pastime is no longer our pastime, and you're competing with ratings, and all of a sudden you get these ratings due to a certain substance or whatever it may be, and you turn your cheek, now that you find out that your best people that you idolized are using, now is it okay for us to get upset and just reprimand and come down hard on people that?
So with
Yeah.
that being said, no, wait, but
Okay.
good point. But with that being said, so then who would you put the blame on more? Would you put it on the players who's using it, or the owners, managers who turn their cheek to it?
I put it on the owners.
Put it on the owners. You?
I put it on all of them. The owners, the managers, everybody.
But
that
the
knows.
owners and the managers aren't getting suspended. The players are.
Yeah, but they know.
But who's getting the revenue?
The owners and the managers, they know.
Who turned their head?
The owners and the managers.
And it sucks because these guys are all getting caught, and guess who's the first one to turn their head on these guys? The owners,
and the managers.
The owners and the
So,
coaches, the managers.
So my question to both of you would be, should the league also have some type of punishment for the owners and the managers that turn their head, that turn the other cheek?
Of course, but then that would be indicting all of the entire league, because the league works for the owners are doing it for the league, the players are just the puppets. But as kids, you do what you're allowed. As people, we do what we're allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're allowed to do so and you're going to praise us, don't, when the world finds out, don't come down and convict me as if I'm the worst person when I help you get richer.
So devil's advocate, somebody has to be the scapegoat.
Okay,
Better
well,
you than me.
Well, then you choose one, you suspend them for the year, and everybody else, you just how you turn your cheek, you sweep it under the rug, or you take care of it in home, but you don't take it away from
But
them.
that presents another problem, lawsuit. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
This was good for baseball for a short-term issue. The problem is when all these guys that are getting caught now, like Braun, these guys grew up watching McGwire, Sosa during the steroid era, so they think it's okay. They thought it was okay to do these things, and people started using steroids because you got the guys in the minor leagues trying to be pros, stuff like that. Nowadays, you got the guys who are already naturally talented using this stuff to make them even more talented. So now, even with like Miguel Cabrera and his Triple Crown, that's got to be questioned. We don't know. He's gotten a lot bigger since he was in 2007. So, it's up there. He was from Miami. I'll say Hanley, but he doesn't look too big. But, it just sucks because a lot of these guys I'm naming probably aren't using, but we have to bring it up because we don't know. Some of the biggest names out there have been getting caught with this. And it sucks because I don't know. I want my kid to grow up, and I don't want him to see some big yoked number 4 cleanup hitter that's only going to be in baseball for 4 or 5 years and break all kinds of records. I'd rather him idolize the newer type of guys that are coming up,
But what does the body type speak? That's not a testament to who's using, because Braun isn't that big,
Compared to where he was before, yes, he is.
Braun? But that's just natural growth. You work out daily.
But it's not natural
Hold up.
because you've been taking
Natural
steroids.
growth.
It's not natural.
So Barry
Okay.
Bonds and Mark McGwire had natural growth.
Yeah, well, growth in production, but Barry Bonds was a 50-50 player when he was with the Pirates. So his production, the only thing that really improved was his home run hitting. Now, of course, he did get astronomically big. All right, now if you're gonna talk about the people who are fluctuating like that, then fine. But people like Canseco and Melky, you can't take away people in their progression as a man. You're gonna fill out. I was 100. I'm about 180 now. I don't know what you were, and I don't know how much. Unless you're taking steroids, I'm pretty sure you were smaller than what you were.
No, but this is what I bring up. When I was in high school and I was playing football, I wasn't always the tallest guy. So I really wanted to talk. I wanted to when I was in high school, because I looked at all these guys like, man, these guys are big. I could never get to that. So the thought runs through young guys' minds, and when pro athletes make it out there like it's okay, then you start thinking like maybe I should. Luckily, King of LA Sports was smart enough not to do that stuff. Steroids are bad, children. Don't ever use them.
They are.
I was smart enough not to ever get involved in that, but I really thought about it because that's the type of mentality you have. Because I played high school ball during the McGwire, Sosa era, so I thought, hey, these guys are on androids. Like that was the thing back then. Maybe I should try that. Maybe I should try this. But yeah, it's just I believe it was great for the game, put up historical numbers on TV, but long term it was horrible.
It tainted the game.
And to be honest, the game is starting to get back to where it used to be before the steroid era. We got these great talents, and if you're a baseball fan, you can't help but be excited. Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, Yasiel Puig, these guys aren't known extremely just for power hitting. They're all 5-tool players. Manny Machado, how can I forget? Probably the best one out of all of them. Manny Machado. All these guys are so young, and it's great because none of them, I don't know for sure, but they don't look like they're on steroids, and I think they're the new breed. And it's good. It's a blessing to see that. But before we talk about how better baseball is getting because of the cleanup, let's talk about these guys that are ruining it still. And we'll go back to the next biggest one, Alex the Juice Rodriguez.
A-Rod, yes, but he's a little different because all of his evidence right now was circumstantial. So unlike Braun, who had a 60-game suspension, nothing is really happening.
Oh, they're setting it up
to A-Rod. So he's guaranteed all that money off his contract. He had like a $300 million contract. He has like $150 million left on it. So. They're kind of iffy on what they're going to do with him
because baseball's never seen nothing like that. They've never had to deal with a situation like this. So every move they make, they got to make sure legally it's okay, and they can't make any wrong moves. And A-Rod's got to do the same thing. The problem is baseball probably has smarter people, because A-Rod's got money, but baseball's got billion-dollar money. A-Rod's got almost $1 billion.
Half a billion dollar money,
which is still a lot.
Right.
But these guys. It's just amazing because they make hundreds of millions of dollars. So all it takes is like $500,000, maybe $1 million to really set up an operation to bring these drugs in from out of the country, drugs that aren't being able to be tested by the NFL.
Here's the thing with A-Rod that people tend to forget. He admitted to using PEDs in his 2001 to 2003 season with the Rangers. And this is before, the test and the program penalties were in effect during the MLB. So are we just to think that, they implemented a test, they implemented penalties, I'm just going to stop using? I don't think so.
No way.
I'm sorry, A-Rod.
That's on him?
No.
There is no way.
No, he's still using. And I love, you're the only Yankee I know, A-Rod. I love you.
No, Derek Jeter.
Oh, well, you do.
Give Mr. Yankee some respect.
Okay.
Derek Jeter? Okay.
He's a biracial angel.
Yeah, he is a biracial angel, Derek Jeter. He has never done any wrong. Okay. A home run, right? Oh. Like one of the announcers said, it should be a movie. It should just be called Jeter.
I have a huge problem with what's going on with A-Rod. Okay, now as you said, he admitted to what's going on. And they're about to make him the face of this steroid whole thing, which I think MLB is coming down on him so hard because they made him the poster child. And they put him on a pedestal, and they were wrong about how natural or unnatural he was. Now again, he admitted he didn't get caught then, so we don't know how long he's been using, if he used just for a season, but he did come out and say that he used, and that's fine. So we know he's to come down. But you can't charge somebody, if somebody admits to something and say that they did something, but they've only been charged with one crime, you can't charge them with two crimes that they weren't convicted for. So they're trying to lifetime ban him as if.
Yes, you can. It's like Aaron Hernandez.
Baseball. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna let you go on. Before that, it was said that he had given a positive drug test back in 2001 and 2002, and it was just he was never penalized for it.
Right.
Like he gave the drug test. Major League Baseball has it. It's positive, and that's why he came out and admitted it after. Because he knows he's going to get in trouble, and that's one of the things they're using to build this case to him about the lifetime ban. Because they found out years later, and they couldn't go back because it had been so long. That's why he came out and admitted it. And then this idiot still goes and tries to do steroids again.
I mean, all that's different. But again, whether he tested positive for what? That's all hearsay. Was he suspended for what happened? Was he penalized for it?
No, because he admitted it before there were any policies in place for it.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying is they want to put a lifetime ban on him for something retro that they didn't get a chance to take care of previously. Now, whether it was stipulated or not, I mean, that's on the MLB. They should have had a policy in place then to be able to take him away from the game. But you can't double penalize him for something that you didn't do. It's almost like whooping your child. Like I meant to whoop you three years ago.
But you remember what you did. But, okay, so gentlemen, we have to move on. So one question will be asked to you, King. Oh. Do you think Braun should be stripped of his MVP title?
This is a very difficult question. Do you want the reporter's answer?
I want the reporter's answer.
Okay, well, the reporter's answer is, you know what, he should be stripped, but it shouldn't be given to anyone because, it should just be stripped. That's all.
So not even to Matt Kemp. Though he put up better numbers that season, it shouldn't be given to Matt Kemp.
Well, once again, are you asking the reporter or are you asking the King of LA Sports, the fan?
No, I want the Dodger fan to answer that.
Yes, it should be given to him. Ryan Braun should drive to Matt Kemp's house and give him the MVP on a silver platter along with dinner and a brand new car.
Okay. That's the answer that I was looking for.
Okay.
Stop being so biased all
Okay.
the time. Okay.
That's the fan answer.
Okay,
But
so
the reporter answer is it should just be stripped.
just be strict.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So now, moving on with the steroid, we have the NFL. They're now starting to test, or they're going to test for HGH 2013. But here's the twist: we're going to test for it, but it's going to be a population? Some type of
it's a study. It's going to be a study.
To see if they carry more HGH than the average person in the general population. Is really seriously, and they're not gonna suspend anyone. Okay, I think this is a bunch of crap. I'm sorry. No, I love football, favorite sport, but 2 years it's taken for them to implement this. So 2011, you started talking about testing for HGH. You've had 2 years to clean up your act. So if you get tested and you show positive, no, suspensions need to take place. No, we'll do something about it next year. No, you knew.
Go
ahead. No, go ahead.
The NFL, how do I say this? They've known that these guys, they've been wanting to test them right away.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they got the players union.
Yeah.
So they can't just go ahead and start testing all these guys. So what they've done over the years is come to an agreement. So now, and not this year, but the year after, players are going to start being strictly tested.
Mm-hmm.
So this year, they're going to test everyone, but nobody's going to get in trouble for the positive test. And they're saying it's because of studies, because of the stuff that's coming in from other countries that our scientists and our doctors don't know what it is. So we want to study it to know the different types of things that are going in. But really, this is just the setup for NFL to know exactly who's using and who's not and who to watch.
But you know what? They already know who's using and who's not and who to watch. They already know that. They know. I think they're afraid that the whole Seattle Seahawks team is just going to get kicked out. So they want to give them a year to clean up their act. But I think it's a bunch of malarkey. Okay,
Yeah.
it's said somewhere between 15 to 20% of the league is using. So that's roughly about 400
I think
out
it's
of
more
27. Well, we lowball it, 15%, maybe 20, 25.
Of the league?
Of the league.
Of the NFL?
Yeah.
I heard it's like 90%.
No,
but,
I
and that's what I was about to say. I'm a former football player, and the first thing you do is go get bigger. The fastest way, you try to find the best way to go get bigger. So you living in GNC somewhere, and
Creatine.
you're not reading the labels. Creatine was popular when we was in high school.
Hydroxycut.
Whole Long Beach Poly team, possibly, but bigger, stronger, faster. The league is worried about now you're talking about you might have to draft a whole new league because your favorite players, the people that make you the most money, will be testing positive. Adrian Peterson spoke about it earlier. He said he's all natural. He doesn't have a problem, but he knows there's not a lot of mutants like him.
No, hold up. I'm gonna let you go, but I've stopped. To me, Adrian Peterson comes out and says that because that's like, I can't trust any player that says that. So for 1 minute, I don't believe him by saying, everyone else should be tested. Like everyone thinks I did this. He broke records by coming back in the kind of stuff he had.
He's been a mutant from
Chris
jump,
Johnson
though.
did it too, though, right?
No. Chris is just fast. Chris had a good year, good blocking scheme, whatever. That's happened. But Adrian Peterson, he's been a mutant since he ran for 4,000 yards in high school, had a 2,000-yard season in Oklahoma. He was projected to have one sooner, but the Vikings just couldn't get it together. If he could find a quarterback that could throw a pea in the ocean, he might have had the 2,000-yard season. People like him and Reggie Bush, you see their work ethic, so it's possible that they don't. Now, we wouldn't put it past him.
Hell no. Reggie Bush?
At the same time,
cheating? Nah.
At the same time, 40 times are getting faster by the day. You're averaging people that are 6'3", a Yasiel Puig, he's probably running 4.3, 4.4, which used to be for a guy like me. So now we're getting bigger, stronger, faster, which equals bigger, more money. The league really didn't want to do this, but the MLB is putting pressure on them to do so.
And Major League Baseball, it was their fault. Like, they were the ones that had the most lenient rules towards steroids. But over the years, all these guys, it became a bad thing.
Well,
people started getting popped left and right, and it started with Manny Ramirez when he came to the Dodgers. Ever since then, it's been going downhill. I don't know if you guys remember. I remember Rafael Palmeiro talking to Congress saying, where's my camera? I never used performance-enhancing drugs. And a year later, he was just he's a liar, complete liar, in front of Congress, lying his steroid butt off like, I didn't use drugs. He is so full of it.
Maybe Ryan
Palmeiro.
Braun went to his school.
Ryan Braun, yeah, maybe he did, because these guys are both liars. And the one thing that I wanted to bring up with Braun is the thing that's kind of suspicious to me is he was the only player to ever get this overturned. And is it weird to anybody else that the owner of that Milwaukee Brewers was the owner of Major League Baseball? Is that weird to anyone else but me?
And it was a technicality. It wasn't like that's what I'm saying. I'm going along with you. It was a technicality. It wasn't so much of him beating the case. Somebody investigated that he didn't get the
enough time, right?
It brings me along to my next point. So he's getting off easy for this.
And he pleaded out, so he doesn't.
And the reason he's getting off easy, because I have a feeling Major League Baseball came to him and told him, you know what, if you come out and you say, hey, you know what, I admit, I'm not going to go against Anthony Bosch, I'm not going to go against his credibility, anything like that, then we'll give you a smaller suspension and take away less money. Because all these players that are getting caught, their main argument is Bosch's credibility. Right. So if the main star in this case doesn't bash Anthony Bosch, then this is a slam dunk for Major League Baseball. That's why Rodriguez needs to shape up. They offered him money and say, we'll give you $60 million if you just walk away from this and stop. You're done.
I think he should fight it.
$60 million to his 120 that he could either lose it all.
I don't like that. Pay the man his money. Suspend him and pay the money.
I think so too.
Pay the money. You held yourself hostage just like my Angels when you signed Pujols to that amount of money. When you gave him that contract, you're obligated to pay it.
So why is it? But is there a clause in his contract saying if you get found with a substance in your body, illegal substance?
No.
Okay, so you know what?
Easy.
Then I would have to agree with you. You were dumb enough not to put a clause in there. Drug use or whatever. So pay the man his money.
Yeah, that's the way I feel, because all these new contracts are starting to have clauses because these guys are getting smarter. So the Yankees just don't want to pay the money. Pay the damn money. Get it over with. You guys made a mistake. Eat it up.
And then
move on. Life goes on. Like, they have to, but it's $100 million. It's not just 5 or 10. Like,
you got Robinson can move on.
Okay, fellas. Yeah, we have to. We have to wrap this up real short. So let's quickly move on to the NBA. They don't do it yet.
Wait, hold on. Let me talk real quick. Before we go to the NBA, I forgot a player that I think is using steroids that nobody else does. And I know
better not.
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this.
Better not.
But we got to ask the question, is Tim Tebow using steroids?
No, leave Tim alone.
Is he using steroids?
No. Tebow is the prime example of what you can do with hard work and dedication.
Yeah?
Oh, yes.
Because he's starting, right?
What?
Because he's starting?
Whatever, Richard. I don't know what your issue is with Tebow, but leave Tim alone.
He's a football player.
I've liked Tebow. He was a Bronco, so let's not talk issue. He was a Bronco at one point. He did damage to my Raiders.
And people forget he's a champion. So don't Florida State.
No, people also forget he was at the club with Aaron Hernandez.
He was.
At the bar when he got got. People also forget.
Horrible influence on Timmy Tebow.
Or was Tebow a horrible influence on him?
Don't make me pull out my Skip Bayless on you, because I will defend
Tebow
to the end.
It don't matter. As long as he's human, Tebow is allowed to be out.
Yeah. Tebow could possibly be the Antichrist.
What? You know what? I'm not. You on 30 seconds. You can't talk. Anyway.
Thank you.
Antichrist.
30 seconds.
Tebow.
Tebow was probably one of the
Look at all the Patriots problems.
Hello?
All the Patriots problems since Tebow arrived.
Stop.
You can write a whole book.
Whatever. You know what?
He's probably the Messiah. I need to quit playing. He's probably the Messiah. There's no way you win games like that.
Is the prime example of what you can do if you
the Jets didn't win nothing.
The Jets didn't
play
him.
He is the Antichrist.
Speaking of which, I think the Jets sabotaged him because they came out in the media and said he would never beat us. They beat him. They look stupid, so they put him on his roster.
Because they know he might be the Antichrist.
Oh my goodness!
They figured it out.
Moving on to NBA.
Just saying.
So the NBA they have yet to test.
Think about it.
They have yet.
That man's Jesus. Be careful.
Antichrist. Think about it.
Lord help me. They have yet to test for HGH in the NBA. So the question is, who do you think may be juicing, or? No, you're on timeout. We're gonna start with Detroit. Who do you think is juicing in the NBA, if anybody?
If anybody, I say Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
His body is in proportion to his head. It bothers me.
Look at his shoulders.
Like, I know there's nothing you can do for your head.
Okay. Do we have any else besides the head and body thing that we can make some grounds on? Maybe I say Kobe.
Howard's shoulders are bigger than Barry Bonds' head.
What about Kobe? Who his miraculous recovery after surgery?
Kobe went to Germany, I believe, and had some controversial surgery that
Blood
isn't
legal,
banned in the NBA yet, but will be in the next couple years. So he went there, and they say that there's some testosterone and stuff involved in that surgery.
Okay.
So apparently they didn't put it in his Achilles.
LeBron, what's your thought? I personally don't think LeBron is juicing. He's been a beast since high school, and everybody knows I'm not a Heat fan or a LeBron fan. But I don't think that he's juicing.
He hits the weight room after every game.
Oh,
rides a bike.
after he shoots up?
One of the main side effects from steroids is hair loss, guys.
He was receding in high school.
Because he might have been using it. See, now I got you thinking. Think about it. Think about it. One of the main causes, you get emotional. You start losing hair. Those are some of the side effects.
That's something you can say about any man. 1 out of 3 men.
True. But we're talking steroids push that a little bit farther. And he's been, I don't know, many people that have been going bald since high school.
Are you a Laker fan?
What kind of question is that? Does this guy know who this show he's on? I'm one of the better Laker fans around, but go ahead. Yeah, I'm a Laker fan.
Then that explains your venom toward LeBron.
No. Let me hear me out on this. Before I started doing this, I did have venom towards LeBron, but he gained my respect. He has nothing but respect for me. Probably the greatest player on the planet.
Now.
Now, yeah. He's gained my respect, and I'll hate on guys until they show me, and I'm man enough to say, hey, he's gained my respect.
But he might be juicing now.
He might be juicing. We don't know, because my point about it is all these athletes have been saying, all of them say they don't, and a lot of times they come back and they're labeled liars, and they are liars because they're lying to everyone's faces. So I can't really trust anyone. I don't care if Matt Kemp came up to me personally and said, Mr. King of LA Sports, I promise you I'm not juicing. I wouldn't believe him.
I have a question for you guys. Okay.
Okay, last question. We're going to have to wrap it up.
Okay,
last question.
quickly. David Vobora of the Rams, he's retired now, but he won a settlement against the Rams. They said he was juicing. He said there's a list out that comes to say things you can take and that you can't take. His supplement was on both of them, and this is kind of HGH-PED type of related. Do you think a lot of people that's getting caught, is it really them intentionally taking steroids, or is there supplements that's banned that people just maybe aren't taking the time to read and they're getting caught? Because I have a hard time thinking that people are just this, malicious.
It may be a case of
the
risk the reward outweighs the risk.
True, but do you really think that these people know? I mean, in the case of Seattle Seahawks, I think they know because they all testing positive for the same thing. But a lot of these people, especially in the league, are getting tested positive for different things. And it's how knowledgeable are these people about?
Okay, but that's where you need to come into play, because this is your career, this is your moneymaker. So you need to be knowledgeable of what you are and what you are not allowed to use. So I put the blame back on you as an NBA player, NFL player, Major League Baseball player. It's up to you to know what you can and cannot do. Just like I'm held to responsibilities of what I can and cannot say on the air. By being an analysis, you have the same responsibility as a player. So it all falls back on you ultimately.
True, and quickly just to wrap this up, I just say that to say that he went to great lengths to prove that this was something that was legal and now not legal. He won his suit, got his money, and retired. But how many times has that happened where the player didn't know that he could go to those great lengths to say, hey, this was legal before, now it's not legal?
Yeah, he was one of the first guys to actually argue that point,
and
he won because I believe that happens every once in a while. Because I've taken stuff I didn't know exactly what was in it when I was younger, but it wasn't steroids.
Sure.
But anyway, this stuff happens, but after the first, second, third, fourth time you hear about these guys, these players got to know, okay, there could be stuff that's shady in this stuff. Let me run it through the league and the team to see if it's okay. Because there's a lot of stuff that these guys legally take. And so they have to run it through the team and the team trainer to make sure it's okay by the NFL guidelines.
And shouldn't they just provide stuff like that?
I think they do, but a lot of people, they go out of their way to try to find their own personal trainer with their own new remedies.
To get that edge.
Get that edge. Yeah, so.
Okay, well, it has been a pleasure, gentlemen. That is all that we have for you today on The Takeover. You can catch me on YouTube at Khisha Brijon. King, tell them where they can find you.
You can catch me under the King of LA Sports on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and on Twitter, Rich Lopez, KOLSE. And before I let everyone go, I just want to tell you, all you parents, you families, it's a good time in baseball right now. All this steroid stuff is going to be put behind us. So if you have kids, friends, family, take them out to the ballpark. It's a good time right now, especially if you're a Dodger fan. Not so much for Angel fans right now, but it's a good time to take your kid out to the ballpark, enjoy the ball game. These guys are doing special things around here, so it's good for the kids. Get out there and support your local LA teams.
Okay, and Detroit, is there anywhere that they can find you?
Yeah, on Twitter, Bobblehead25, or Facebook, /dontrelle Detroit. You'll see me coming on YouTube and things of the future, but that's it for now.
Well, again, thank you, gentlemen. This has been quite a interesting show. So until next week, may the sports be with you.
And don't be afraid to roll the dice. And when you live like Rich, you'll never be poor. Have a good day.